ABC Quality is a quality rating and improvement program for child care providers here in South Carolina. It's part of the SC Department of Social Services. ABC Quality manages programs designed to make child care more accessible and affordable for families throughout the state. We're here today to talk about ABC Quality, what it is, and how it impacts children and their families across the Palmetto State. Today we're going to learn a little bit more about the impact of childcare or lack of childcare here on South Carolina businesses. I'm joined with Ms. Connolly Ann Ragley from the South Carolina Department of Social Services and Ms. Cynthia Bennett from the South Carolina Chamber of Commerce. Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. Ms. Ragley, I'm going to start with you. Lack of childcare. It's a huge problem. Childcare can be really overwhelming for families if they've never had to process that before while having a job. So can you tell me a little bit about the impact on the workforce and what that looks like?
Sure. So many working parents out there in South Carolina struggle with the same issues. They're looking for quality childcare. They're looking for accessible childcare that meets their needs and also affordable childcare. And
Absolutely.
One of the things that some research and work that's been done between DSS, the South Carolina Chamber of Commerce, and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce Foundation finds that for every 100 open jobs in South Carolina, there's only 43 individuals that are able to fill those positions.
Wow.
And so imagine if some of those folks that were staying home because they couldn't find childcare, if they were in our workforce and contributing to our state's economy, what a benefit that would be.
Absolutely.
And so this is so much more than just finding care for your children. This is really a business issue that we're dealing with within our state. And we know that the lack of childcare is also a risk factor for abuse and neglect of children. Because as a parent, you may be leaving your child with someone you find on Facebook or someone that you're not as familiar with, someone who has not been background checked, that meets all of the state and federal laws. And so we just don't want parents to make a difficult choice and put their child in a place that is not safe, not rated, not regulated.
Right, and you think about those first-time parents, right, who have never had to have childcare before. They just could go to work every single day, didn't have to think about it, to know that there's a resource like ABC Quality to help make that a little bit easier.
There is. Yes.
I'm going to come to you now. What are you hearing on the business side of things from South Carolina businesses about this issue of lack of childcare here in our state?
Businesses are saying the lack of childcare affects productivity. It causes absenteeism, and thus it puts them at a shortfall of having, employees, which leads to a bigger issue of where am I getting my next generation of employees? If we don't have adequate childcare, then that foundation that would be provided through a quality program affects us in the long term.
Absolutely, yeah. And what about businesses and policymakers on a more positive note? How are you seeing that change be worked with and work toward a better goal and a better future for the state?
Conversations are being held around what can we do to prevent that shortfall of funding in South Carolina. It's nearly $1 billion, so that affects state economies because that leads to unemployment because of the lack of child care, but they're looking at ways of looking at regulations, tax credits and reliefs and things of that nature that would, maybe help lessen the burden. But, it is a costly event. As a mom of 2 kids early on in my life, career of working, it was costly, but I was a 2-household income. But for those that are single parents or a joint income and there's less funding, what businesses can do and what the legislature can do is provide those tax reliefs, those credits to assist those persons in need.
Yeah, absolutely. Really great points. And what about on your side of things, DSS and ABC Quality, how are you guys kind of helping to combat this issue?
Sure. So first and foremost, ABC Quality is such a resource for our providers. Of the 2,400 licensed providers that we have in South Carolina, about 2/3 participate in ABC Quality.
Fantastic.
And that is really, it's our voluntary quality improvement program here in South Carolina that really encourages childcare centers to go above and beyond in meeting those state standards. It's not like if you were to go to a restaurant with friends and you see an A, a B, or a C on the wall, that if you saw a B or C, you might think, oh, I'm not sure I want to eat there. But in regards to childcare, those centers that are participating in ABC Quality, again, totally voluntary, they're holding themselves to a higher standard. So if you see a letter grade outside of a childcare center, you know that they're exceeding those state standards. So for parents who are looking for childcare that need help, we've got abcquality.org where you can log on for more information. We also have our great website, scchildcare.org, where you can search by zip code. I'm a mom of two myself, and there was a point in time where I was not sure I was going to be able to go back to work many moons ago because I had difficulty finding childcare and we didn't have any family nearby. But it was something that was really important to us, and we had to search and look, and we didn't get into the trendiest, most popular childcare center in downtown, but we did find childcare. It's there. You might have to look for it. It may not be right next door.
Right.
You may have to drive a little bit for it. But as far as businesses, what if businesses started thinking about childcare benefits as part of their employees' compensation package? Things like paid time off, things like medical leave and sick leave and dental and vision. What if employers started thinking about it like that? We have several of them throughout the state that are doing that. Hospital systems, manufacturers. It's time, kind of as Cynthia hinted, these conversations to think outside the box for public-private partnerships.
Yeah.
How do we make that work? But one thing we know for sure is that there's not going to be any additional money coming from the federal government. So if additional funds are going to be needed for childcare, whether that's making it more affordable or startup or seed programs or tax credits, that the state legislature will need to put some funds and some intent in what they're saying.
Absolutely. It's a work in progress, but to hear from two moms and who are actively working to help make this more accessible and affordable for South Carolina patrons. So thank you both so much for being here and chatting with us about this.
Thank you, Sam.
Absolutely. And y'all, like they said, you can get even more information at abcquality.org. Ton of great resources there. We'll be right back.